Hi loves, my name is Daisha Torres. Welcome to my channel. I'm currently 19 years old. I had my son when I was 18, and then when he was a month, I turned 19. So yeah, still in the teens. I had him in my teens. So I'm going to be talking about my labor experience and my labor story. I started having contractions around 3 a.m. on May 11th. But I went to the hospital May 10th for the same reason, and they just sent me home like 30 minutes after I was there. They said I was only 4 centimeters dilated, and they sent me home, and I was like, what? Like, I want to get pregnant already. So the next day, it was the same thing. It was around 3 a.m., so I didn't even bother waking up my mom. I was like, oh, should I like stick it up like a champ? So I did. It was around 6 a.m. My mom was up because she had to go to work and take the kids to, well, my brother and sister. I'm like, my back has been hurting. Like, I've been tossing and turning. I thought it was the way I was sleeping. And she's like, oh, well, mommy, those are contractions. I'm like, oh, I didn't know. I've never had a kid. Like, this is my first baby. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to go to work and take the kids to school. They sent you home yesterday. It's probably nothing. She's like, if it goes down to every 5 minutes, let me know so I could rush you to the hospital. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But then as soon as she was like taking a shower, like it hurt so bad I couldn't move. Like I was crying and I was timing myself. I think it was literally every 5 minutes. It was probably like 6:05, and then it was 6:10, 6:15, 6:20, 6:25, like that. I was like, oh my god. But I had them on a piece of paper so I could tell the doctor that I wasn't like bullshitting or anything. That it was literally that. I'm so sorry if you hear the music. It's Sunday. And if you're Hispanic, you know Sundays you clean. So your parents put music so you clean. But anyways, where was I? Oh yeah. So she's like, you know what? I'm just gonna take you right now. And I felt so bad because I was just like screaming at her and my siblings. So driving over there. It felt so bad. So at the doctor's, I was there. They're like, oh, so what drugs do you want? And I was like, what? And they're like, okay, just sign some waivers and stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I did, and then I don't know what they gave me. I think it was morphine because I was like seeing colors and stuff. And after that, the doctor came in. She's like, look, I'm gonna break your water. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And so they broke my water, and after that they put the epidural, and that hurt so bad. So it turned out the 2 girls, they looked really young. I should have known. Like, they hurt me really bad. And when the doctor came to give me the medicine through there, she's like, oh, they did it wrong. So she sent a specialist down, and he like fixed it for me, and it hurt so bad because they made me like doblarme like again. So I was like all the way down here, and I was looking at the doctor, and I'm like, oh my god, it hurts. Like I can't go down any farther because like my belly's so huge. And she's like, oh, go as far as you can. And I was like, like I let all the air out, and I was like this, and I was like literally this close, and I was like, oh my gosh. And they were like monitoring my contractions. They're monitoring my contractions, and they're like, wow, you're getting them really heavy. I'm like, I know. So they can't, well, the way she told me, she said she can't give me the injection while the contractions are going because I could either get paralyzed or something could happen. And I was like, okay. So that happened. 18 hours passed by. Well, yeah, it was 18 hours when they broke my water. A few hours passed by. I think it was like 12 at night, and I got there like at 7 a.m. Yeah, I got there like around 7. No, it was 8 because we took the kids to school. It was 8 o'clock, and the doctor, she's like, she came in, they kept checking me down there. It kept hurting, and I was bleeding. I was like, oh my gosh, more fingers in there, like, Jesus. And then it was around 1 o'clock. No, lies. It was really late. It was like 2, 3. I'm like scratching myself. It was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm hot. And the nurse was like, oh, let me give you some ice chips. You can't eat anything just in case something happens, you know? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. All my pregnancy, I was obsessed with ice, so there was nothing wrong with that. So I was eating my ice chips, and I'm like, no, like, I'm sweating. Like, I'm seriously hot. And the nurse, she's like, oh, let me take your temperature. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, wow. And I look at her. She's like, you have 105.3. And I was like, what? And she called the doctors. Like 3 doctors came down. I thought it was so hilarious because since my doctor wasn't there, it was a new female doctor. She was pregnant. I was 39 weeks and 4 days, and she was like 36 weeks. She was so sweet. She was like, look, Daisha, she sat with me. She gave me her hand. She's like, look, we're going to have to do an emergency C-section. And I looked at my mom and I'm like, Mami, no quiero. Like, no. And she's like, look, I'm sorry. Do you want to live? Like, do you want to save your son? Because I can't guarantee you something won't happen. She's like, your temperature's so high and I don't want nothing to happen to your baby. And I started crying. I'm like, okay. So they rushed me to, like, I'm from Chicago. And if you think it's cold outside, like, the room they took me in was so freezing cold. And they gave my mom like scrubs and like the little mask. Like, she looked like a little nurse. She was next to me and she's like, oh look. So they put like a curtain. It was a blue curtain, so I couldn't see anything. And then the anesthesiologist, I think I'm saying it wrong, but then the anesthesiologist came in and he gave me, since they put me the epidural, he came in and he put a shot back here. He gave me a shot, but he left the needle in there, so I don't know what that was. And I'm like they started cutting me and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I could feel it. And he's like, what? And I told my mom, like, Mommy, like, lo siento. And she's like, you're not supposed to. Like, what? So, like, my mom was on this side. I was like legitimately sitting like this. My mom was on this side and then the anesthesiologist was on this side. So he kept putting more and he put so much to the point that I was shaking and I couldn't stop. And I was like temblando and I was cold and my lips were chapped. I was like, Mom, like, I cannot stop shaking. So I told him and he's like, what? And I don't know, he went somewhere. I don't even remember after that. It was so scary because I was shaking so much that they could have like hurt me or something. And up, I'm like showing you like you can see, but there was a lamp. It was like a circular lamp. If you have a C-section, you probably know what I'm talking about. So there was this lamp and I was looking up, but it had like, I don't know if it was like aluminum foil or something. It looked like that, but I could see what they were doing. Like, they were cutting me and everything, so I just didn't want to look at that because I was freaking out enough. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And my mom, she was trying to tranquilizarme. She's like, baby, relax, you're gonna get through this, you're soon gonna hear your son. I was like breathing, I was like taking deep breaths, but I kept shaking. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, Mom, I'm tired, like I feel like just going to bed. She's like, no, don't do that. And she was like going like this. She's like, Mommy, stay awake, talk to me, come on, look, your son's gonna be born. And then all of a sudden we just hear my son crying, and it was so beautiful because he wasn't crying like crazy crying. He sounded like a cat, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like everything, the pain and everything was just worth it at that moment. I just turned around and I saw him there and he was so beautiful. He was born at 4:30 exactly in the morning. It was 4:30 a.m. He weighed 7 pounds exactly and he was 20 inches long. That was the best moment of my life. Even though I suffered so much, it was worth it. It was worth it. I love my son. He's 8 months. He's about to be 9 months. And I love him so much. I really want to show him in the video, but since he's sick, he's just sleeping right now. But I'll post some pictures. Well, I'll add it to the clip. But if you want to see him or me and more of about our life, you could follow me on my Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter or Facebook or anything. I'm gonna I'm gonna put everything in the description box below. And I'm gonna be vlogging more. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe. I'm gonna do like mommy vlogs. I'm moving to Puerto Rico in like 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going back. I recently came back to Chicago because of the Hurricane Maria. I'm pretty sure you guys heard about it. If you want to hear about that experience, just comment down and I'll make a separate video. But I'm definitely gonna vlog my trip over there. Well, not trip because I'm going to live there, but I'm gonna vlog everything. And thank you so much for watching.